You're listening to KCYP 97.7 The City. This is Scarlet Rose, and you're now listening to RGV Rocks. You are listening to KCYP 97.7 FMLP The City. This is Scarlet Rose, along with my co-host,
Rocket Rudy.
And welcome to RGV Rocks KCYP 97.7 FMLP The City. It's a nonprofit organization that promotes local artists such as myself and is the home of indie music. We are now accepting donations through our website www.thecity977.com and as well as sponsorships to keep this radio station thriving. For more information on paying donations, sponsorships, or business advertisement, feel free to contact Joe Martinez at 956-789-0702 or by email at martinezjoe@hotmail.com. I will be leaving the donation links in the description below if you guys want to donate to us or as well as the city. You are happily well to do so. But without further ado, for the people that don't know who we are or what we do, RGV Rocks is a radio show and now an online podcast dedicated to local talent, events, and all the wonderful people in the RGV, such as you and I. That was a really huge handful. And guess what? So this is one of our, I would say, second episode where we haven't done an interview at all. It's just going to be a regular podcast interview, and it's pretty much, oh my gosh.
It's just us.
Yeah, it's gonna be just us. Yeah.
Yeah, we it's not that we didn't have any talents to put on, but okay, let's spill the beans. It's our 100th episode, people. Yeah. Woo! So what we're gonna do in this 100th episode today is just gonna be me and Scarlet Rose, and we're gonna be talking about how we got started. We're gonna be talking about the artists, the people with talent. You know, people that call in or people that look at our show and, you know, send us DMs and stuff like that. That is what this is all about. RGV Rocks is about us interviewing you, the talent, the artists to come out on our show, our podcast, our very little humble podcast, to make sure that we let everybody know in the whole RGV who you are and what you do. Mm-hmm. And you know what, Scarlet Rose, you're one of the greatest too. You know that. You know, I remember when you were a little girl, started like beating on the dishes, clean, you know, and stuff. And now look at you, you're a big time guitar player. Now you're a producer, you're an editor. Oh my gosh, you're just like doing a lot of great things, you know.
I know.
You know, and you're only getting better and bigger, you know. So RGV Rocks is one of these shows that we do to make sure that you, the listeners, the viewers, everybody watching can understand that there's actually really great Valley talent. And we've got a bunch of them. We still got more to do. Only because it's me and Scarlet Rose today does not mean that we ran out of people. No, we got a lot of people. Get ready for a lot of great talent head your way. Is that right, Scarlet Rose?
Heck yeah. So let's get this show on the road. For the people that are barely tuning in, for the people that are listening in through our Facebook or our YouTube by the time this is posted, we have a very special giveaway. And that very special giveaway is for our 100th episode, we are giving away $100 in e-credits, so it could be a gift card of your choice. For the people that are tuning in through the radio, be sure to look out for those emojis coming out on our Facebook and YouTube. How we're going to do this is there's going to be 4 flashing emojis in this whole episode. So if you have the order right of those emojis and you DM us that specific, you know, that four emojis, you will be able to be entered for the $100 giveaway. So be sure to keep looking in on that post. I know that there's probably going to be a post like before the show goes on air. So be sure to be looking out for that. But without further ado, how we started about, this is funny, Rudy, because every single time we've only been on 2 other interviews, but they keep messing up the origins behind RGV Rocks, and I think that's kind of funny how that actually started. Because should I start it off actually how it started?
Let's do it. That's why it's the 100th. We gotta let everybody know how the way it started from a seed. We added the water, the plant grew out, and here we are.
Yeah. So how it started originally was I had a podcast, and I've mentioned this I think on James's show. On Rock and Roll James's show. If you guys have not checked that out, be sure to check out PVT. There's an episode on us, me and Rock and Rudy, and it'll you can basically hear about how we started our show, but we're gonna get into like the deep dive into how it actually started. So I mentioned on James's show that I had another podcast by the name of the Anime and Cosplay Show here on the city. It was at the same time, Thursdays at 7, and it was four other people involved, but those other people were very busy. I know two of them had left for college, so I was basically alone with two other people. But the thing is that they had band, and you know how pigskin gets, you know how band gets, especially within public schools. So I had to deal with that. I had to run the show all on my own. I think we ended off on episode 50, if I'm not like quite sure. I'm not quite sure when I ended that episode, but the director Joe Martinez ended up giving me the opportunity to start a new show because, of course, anime cosplay show was kind of dying. So I had the opportunity to start a new show. And that new show ended up becoming RGV Rocks. The thing is, I think the first episode, the pilot of RGV Rocks, is somewhere lost in the station. So if it ever comes up for whatever reason as a rerun, it's so funny because that particular episode that I had put on the air was basically news for that specific day and time. So imagine at September 6th, 2018, you hear all the news that was going on. You hear the weather for that specific day. And then on top of that, I had also put into the what's it called? That episode, I think football. Football was supposed to be a huge one because I wanted to do something like news based for KCYP. And that was basically the premise of RGV Rocks before we got into the interviews. And that was pretty funny because I was doing interviews way before RGV Rocks, but it wasn't suggested to me to do interviews until I got Rudy on the air. And that's when Rudy took over as a co-host because I think he was there the second episode for RGV Rocks.
I was the co-host, but I was the guest
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
So you interviewed me at the same time we started. We let everybody know that I joined RGV Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the interview was a success. Everything was great. Unfortunately, there is no video, but there is audio of the show.
Yeah.
And we started doing about maybe 3 episodes after that is when we started doing the Facebook show.
Yeah.
And we were turning on Facebook, recording the artists that were coming out and letting people see our little studio, because it was not a big old studio.
Yeah.
The building was big, but our studio was small. It was a closet-sized studio. And it was amazing because we had so much talent come through the studio, and perform. We had artists that, like Ocean Breeze, or was it Ocean Avenue?
Ocean Breeze Avenue. Yeah.
Ocean Breeze Avenue, yeah. Those guys, friends of ours and everything like that. The drummer had to basically sit almost on the outside because there was no really room. They had the drummer, the guitar player, the bass player, the keyboard player, and the first Valley Mexican Jamaican band. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then we had great people such as Johnny Electric. Remember DJ Johnny Electric showed up with his speakers and doing his mixing and stuff. It's just a lot of great talent that went through our doors. What was his name? Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah, Kool-Aid.
The comedian,
Alex Ansel.
Yeah, Alex. Yeah, he was such a cool guy. It was just so. He made fun of my Patriots. You remember that?
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. It's just been a blessing, and you're just an amazing co-host too. Scarlett Rose. We grew up in this business, and I know you definitely grew up in this business because you all don't know the story, which I'm pretty sure you should, because again, it does come out in PVT on how the way me and Scarlett Rose met. Also because Johnny O mentioned it when we did the interview with Johnny O. He wanted to know how you and I met it. We were like going together because he's kind of old for you. Remember, he says that in the interview. And no, of course we. And let me explain real quick. I've known Scarlett Rose all her life, even before she was born, because I've known her mom and her older brother. When her older brother was like about 6, 7 years old, little skinny runt running around, great people, always have been, they still are. And your mom's an amazing lady. She's very truly a beautiful lady as well. Now we know where you get your looks. But otherwise than that, Scarlet Rose was born, and ever since she was born, I've known her, and I've seen this young lady grow up from a baby in Pampers all the way to today. Look at her, as you can see her now. She's going to college, a full-time student, doing the radio show. You're just amazing too. And can't wait till one of these days I'm gonna have to switch the RGV Rocks around on you and interview you.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I get that, yeah. But what's it called? I would agree with the whole, what's it called, opening our doors to a lot of local talent. Is I the thing is, if it weren't for you, Rudy, to be like as a guest, I don't think we would have started all that because I was very, and the thing is I remember this back in the day too. I had barely done interviews, like personal one-on-one interviews back in the day because I was the type of student that was used to just regular talk show hosting. And I would always bring up like questions like, oh, what do we want to talk about and stuff like that. And that was back when I was like a student or had just, I would say I was barely certified as a student through broadcasting. And it was really interesting getting to, have this whole show just primarily about like interviewing people. And it was just very interesting, especially like within the valley. I think we weren't the only people to do it at the time, but we were one of the trendsetters that started it all. Because when I was talking to a lot of other podcasters, they would start, during the pandemic. And it was really hard to listen to a lot of podcasting back in 2018 because everybody was like, well, the only podcast you can listen in is basically on Apple or Spotify. And it was just I think we just transcended the podcasting industry within the valley.
The movement.
Yeah, the movement.
Yeah. It's been a great ride. We've been lucky enough to have some really, really great artists and talents, DJ Lucky J. We saw him since he was 14 years old. Now he's already 19 or 20, and he's in college himself too, and he's doing tremendously well. DJ Lucky J, congratulations on your awards and stuff like that. And he has just been tremendously great and moving up in the world. And and we wish him the best, like always. Lots of blessings to him and his family. Then we had Lucky Joe. He is a Tejano artist. He is Freddie Records. If I'm not mistaken, he's still with them, and he's been doing great. He just recently released an album, or not an album, but a video as well for his album. And lots of blessings to him too, and his family and his way. Then we had Jesse Turner from the Grupo Signo. Remember him? He praised DJ Scarlet over here, Scarlet Rose, and he just great talent, great musician, great singer. Who else can I say? I mean, I just can't name all of them because there's so many that we did, so many great talents. Like I said, Rock and Roll James, of course. Then we can go to David Leja, who started the TKO trend. Turn his kindness and awareness. Turn his kindness and awareness. Yeah, and he overcome exactly overcome. I see awareness, right? Overcome, and he is doing so great because remember he wrote a book, published a book, and he made it big with that. He's gone around with that tiger that he's got. It comes out for the children and everything, and now he's also the president of TWL. The wrestling association that's here in the RGV. Throughout everything that they go to the Cine Rey all the time. To go do wrestling over there, and they're just doing great right now themselves. And I can't wait to meet up with those people again and talk to them and see how they've been and stuff. Catch up if you will. And then we had such great people, artists, people that do art. The modeling that we just had, that one model girl that we just had.
Yeah, and then we had what's it called? I think going back to that, who do we have from like the I think it was somebody from the Season of Hope Art Festival. It was like that girl that does like the glass and
From
stuff like that.
Bronzeville.
That was
She's from
before the
Bronzeville.
pandemic. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You see,
That
and it's like I said, you know, and if I chop it up and I don't say your name, I apologize because again, we have so many people that we. I mean, I just want to thank all the great artists that agreed to come on our show, you know,
mhm.
and do our crazy little show and you know act crazy, you know, and stuff like that. And Robert Ceballos, thank you very much too. We also have Foxy Roxy, you know, Lluvia come out and everything, and
Mhm.
those are RGV radio jocks, you know, air jocks that come on the radio. DJ Agro, Frankie G, Johnny O, you know, that now, you know, they're doing podcasts and stuff, you know. They're not out of the radio loop. They're still in the radio, but they're just doing it a different way now, you know. Now it's
Yeah.
everything's been podcast, internet ever since the pandemic hit, you know. And the one thing that really did not get stopped by the pandemic, I want to say, is entertainment.
Yeah.
And that is what we're doing. You know, we're
Mhm.
entertaining. You know, we entertain the people that listen. You know, we make sure that, you know, we make it fun for you, the listener, the watcher and stuff, you know, because otherwise than that, then you ain't gonna be listening or watching, and we're not gonna be where we're at right now. Ain't that right, Scarlet Rose?
Yeah, that's true. No, but going into like the pandemic actually, because I know that we've done a couple of events here and there. You want to talk about them? I know I was gonna bring up the pandemic because like the Safe Cine Ray interviews that I did at Cine. But do you want to talk about like the a couple of the events that we've been able to do as like just as our podcast?
Well, what one of the biggest ones that I want to say was before the pandemic was when we did the Christmas parade.
Yeah, the Christmas
Uh,
parade. It was
yeah, they're in
the
McAllen at the Municipal Park.
mm-hmm.
And this was actually in 2019. It was no, I'm lying to you. It was on 2018.
It was
It was
2018 then
2018.
2019.
Yes. Well,
Yeah, and then
2019 we did it too because it was,
mhm,
yes, exactly right. And the beautiful thing about it was that we communicated with so many people that hear us on the radio before we
mhm.
started doing the podcast. They came to us and said hello to us, and we're like, oh, now we know who the face is behind the voice, you know, and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember that I got on the Ferris wheel, and I was talking to you on the phone on the Ferris wheel, and I had this one lady tell me before I got on it. She goes, "You're gonna get on the Ferris wheel and you're gonna do the radio show like that?" And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am, we sure are." Isn't it gonna mess it up? And I go, "No, because we're on our cell phones. You know, that's the way I was calling you. But we were talking on the mic, you know, and it was so
Mhm.
cool because the mic caught the range, you know, and it's just sometimes things happen and they're miracles and blessings. And I say that was a great miracle and a great blessing.
Mhm.
Then we went to Edinburgh. We had done a show in Edinburgh. Uh,
It was the
actually,
24th annual night out. Yeah.
night out, exactly. We had the PD, the fire department, ambulance, so well, you know, the first responders out there. We introduced bands, people that just started dancing and stuff like that. It was just a great show. I remember that. And me and Scarlet Rose were like, "We need something to drink. Can we get something to drink?" I remember we were dying of
Yeah.
thirst, you know. So I had to run down a couple of blocks just to get us something to drink. And came back, but it
No,
was
what's
good.
funny about that was they had food for like the people that were entertaining. But the
Yeah,
thing is that they didn't tell us until later. So Rudy had to get a bunch of water just to make us survive that day.
yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, now you tell us that we have
Yeah.
something to drink and eat over here. But you know what? That was not the point. The point was that we were there for the people. You know, we're there to make
Mhm.
we entertained the people, and me and Scarlet Rose, we got a great chemistry. You know, and you know, I actually basically, if you will, one time I think it was to your sister-in-law's sister that got married that
Mm.
we went to go do their wedding, and you got on the microphone with me and I was telling you, you know, talk here, say this, say that. Because that's when you were starting to break out of your shell,
Yeah.
if you will, you know, because you were real like, okay, thank you for no, wait a minute. Sound, you know, you sounded robotic, you know, get yourself live, you know, make yourself happy and
Mhm.
stuff. And sure enough, little by little, it started happening. And now you're a singer and you're a
Yeah.
guitar player. You know, you write your own songs, you play your own music, and look at you. Now we can't keep you quiet.
Oh my god.
But that's cool. That's cool. It's just, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what. it's been a real pleasure to be here on the show, RGV Rocks, and having such a great co-host such as Scarlett Rose over here. Because there's been times where she'll call me and she'll say, "Rudy, we need to try to get somebody for next week. I forgot." So, no worries about it. Let me see what I can do. And thank you to Connie, my niece. Connie, thank you very much for helping us out. What was that? Humus Palmas and what's that Lugo guy? Jay Lugo.
Yeah.
He was a singer for a group of Hometown Boys and stuff like that, and man, it's just been so great. And thank you, Connie, for helping out and everything, Well, I mean, a lot of more people that we can thank, BD Smalls from the RGV Banditas, thank you to her for making it happen for this last podcast that we had. And then the one before that, it was Leslie Uriagas, he's the manager for the RGV Banditas, that went to the studio and did the show with us, and I just can't wait to, maybe one day we'll go ahead and go back to the studio and open it up again and have artists come on the show, but this time we can do it as a podcast at the studio. Like, you never know. It could happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I really hope that we can go back to the studio like one more time. I know that I'm going to graduate next year, so that's the other thing that I'm like freaking out about. So I'm like, oh no, like if this, I know that the show is going to probably end sometime soon. But the thing is, I know for a fact that if for whatever reason somebody like overtakes the next step of not RGB Rocks, but like another show like RGB Rocks, it would be such a blessing to have them just to keep on doing the tradition. Because also the reason why we started RGB Rocks and to be just having just, local talent interviews, there was another show on the station a long time ago that was doing exactly what RGV Rocks was doing, but like back in the day, like back in early 2000s. And I would tell you right now that if we have another show that does the exact same premise that RGV Rocks does, I hope that it will keep the station alive, because I know that ours, and then as well as I think 2 other podcasts within the station, I think that's what's keeping the station alive. It's just a lot of Valley love that comes into like the station, and I really hope that it does continue. Yeah,
I back in the day when I was Q94.5, in '96 on up to 2000, I actually started the homegrown. Doing Valley Towns to the homegrown at the race, but it was nothing but rock bands, But that was something totally different than what we're doing now. Now we're doing anybody who's got a talent. I don't care if you're an expert at shooting pigeons and stuff. I don't care if you're an expert at squashing ants or cucarachas or whatever, If you got a talent, let us know and we'll discuss it. And if we think your talent is great, baloney, we'll put you on the show no matter what you do. Tell you the truth,
Exactly. I know. Okay, actually, speaking about talent really quick, let me announce something really quick. For the people that don't know that and are wondering how to get into our show, we have a link tree in our bio. If you click on that, our application is within that link. So if anybody has any sort of Valley talent that is interested in joining our show for whatever reason, if you want to get interviewed, want to get a friend interviewed, you want to get a person that has done a miraculous thing that deserves to be on air, just sign up for application to be interviewed on the station. It's pretty much there in our link. You can just click it, just fill out the form. We'll get to you as soon as possible. We'll probably set you in for probably November or December. We already got one person for November. I have to double check those forms really quick. But if you want to join, just sign up.
It's that easy. Just sign up. Really it is. And if we don't get a hold of you right away, don't worry. We will reach out to you. Trust me. I mean, if you were to really see all the people that have signed up and everything, then you'd understand why it takes us a while to get to you.
Yeah, okay? It does take a while.
But we will get to you. I promise. Okay. Now, if the show ends before we get to you, well then, okay, we're sorry. But the show ended,
Oh my gosh.
But we're only on our 100th episode.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't, because I know I'm going to graduate soon and I'm going to be able to do greater and bigger things. So will Rudy, because I know that somehow, some way you'll end up back in radio somehow, some way again.
I'm like a cockroach. You can't get rid of me. Let me put it to you that way.
Yeah.
No. But yes, people just keep watching, keep supporting us. Thank you so much for the love and the backup.
Mhm.
We've got so much more talent to show you, so many more talents to interview, so many more beautiful people out there, that listen to us, that watch us, and if they see me walking down the streets, they say hi to me and they, oh, you know what? I remember you and Scarlet Rose, this and that. Yes, of course. We're not the type of people that are going to say, no, we don't want you on our show, because that's not true. That is what makes us
Mhm.
our show. We get you on the show. The only rule we have is you got to keep your P's and Q's in line, because it is a family show. There is a lot of podcasts out there that do, let loose and speak their minds and talk the way they want to talk, which is fine and which is great. You know, we acknowledge that, and we say, you do what you do. That's why we do what we do. That's why we are who we are. And that's
Mhm.
how the way we get big and we get better, because we do it our way. You do it your way, we do it our way. When you
Yeah.
come on our show, we thank you for being on our show.
I think who mentioned this? I remember we were interviewing somebody. I think it was Johnny O when we interviewed him. The main thing about why we keep it PG most of the time, if not PG-13, is because of the FCC. There's a lot of violations we don't want to break. Especially we
Right.
can't drop certain words here and there, or else the station's gonna get fined. I know for a fact that the station did get fined with another podcast because of that kind of stuff. Those bombs that got dropped. So that was also the reason why we decided to keep it just,
Yeah.
PG-13. That's basically the reason, if anyone's like wondering, because I know, the FCC is pretty hard.
Yeah.
We
I
don't
mean,
we
we
don't want
understand
any of their
every
agents going
now and
after
then.
us.
Yeah, we understand that every now and then a word might slip out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes, we understand that. But there's also a limit to how many times you can say that word. Like
Mhm.
if you start going after every other sentence and stuff, then we're gonna have to kind of put a pause and remind the artist, hey, slow it down a little bit. Even
Mhm.
though we can edit a lot, it just sounds kind of ugly when you edit one sentence after another. But
Yeah.
otherwise than that, we love all the people that come on our show. We thank all the people that come on our show,
Mhm.
and Miss Scarlet Rose is starting to be more and more professional at, the broadcasting. As you can see, we're just, man, I just can't wait. We're just going to be doing a lot of great stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm already ready. Let's get the next show started already.
Exactly. Speaking about podcasting, especially co-hosting, we've had a couple of co-hosts and also takeovers here on our station as well. I know we've had what's it called? If I remember correctly, there was one takeover that we did when it barely started. Let me go to that because I remember who do we interview that was a takeover. I think it was Von Sweets. The Von Sweets takeover for Jetwad. That was a
Yeah.
huge one. That what's it called? That I think you couldn't make it to that, but we scheduled that just to have them there because they were interested in doing co-hosting that first time. They're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I want to co-host. Let's do that." So we had I think that was our first our first try at a takeover, and that was very scary for our first time because they came in late. That was number one. I was kind of scared about that one. Luckily, no one was in the slots behind us, so we were thankful that nothing ever happened about that. So that was really good. But the I think the whole takeover was I think an hour and 30 because it was also live music, if I'm not mistaken. I think I would have to go back on that. But that was also I think on our Facebook as well before the pandemic. And then
The podcasting.
yeah, and then we also had some I remember this one. So the other one that we also had was some I think some interns from STC because I know that Mr. Martinez was going back and forth between UTRGV and then STC students that he would get on the radio. I thought was really interesting because that takeover was very interesting because we had Vinny D. I don't know if you ever remember
Vinny
Vinny
D, yeah.
D. Yeah. So he couldn't make it because, he moved. He couldn't make it to the station. So what he did was I think this was I think this was our only interview that was on the phone, just straight up on the phone. It would be the phone next to the microphone and you would hear him on the station monitors and it was really
Thank you so
fun.
much for having me on the phone today.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Hey,
one was really fun because
yes.
he was talking about how he got into radio. And I think he was also talking about he was talking a lot about tips and tricks within radio because it was the interns that had a lot of questions about that. So that was really interesting. And then the other one that we did have, she is now, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to give false information about this one, but we had Leah Yadis. I can't
That is,
remember how to pronounce that last name. I'm so sorry. I keep butchering your name because I'm not the only person. I remember in Bouncing Brains podcast that interview that we had, like me and Rudy, they also butchered her name as well. So I'm so sorry. But she was a student, if I'm not mistaken, for with the KCYP radio broadcasting classes. And then she ended up moving, then coming back. And she was working with, I think, News Channel 5 for a while. And now she's working with the city of McAllen. So that was the greatest thing. What's it called? Who I think was it Freddie? Yeah, Freddie G. She co-hosted that one. It was the comedian, not I know we have a lot of Frankie G's, we got a lot of Freddie G's within our episodes. So not to get confused, but it's the comedian that we ended up getting
well, that one was
interviewing.
Frankie G. This is Freddie G. But I
Yeah,
know what you mean by the G, the
yeah,
acronyms. Yeah.
yeah, because I've had a lot of people ask, they're like, wait, I thought you already interviewed that dude. Oh
No,
wait,
no,
with
no, no,
yeah.
no, no, no. What's so funny was when you mentioned about Freddie G.
Hmm.
I can remember that we did him on our show, and then 2 weeks later we went to his show.
Yeah.
And, and that was one of the interviews where they told us, "Be loose, be yourself. If you drop the bomb, then you drop the bomb. No worries. This
Hmm.
is what we do in our show. When he came to our show, we told him, that it was a family show, and it was a couple of times he kind of threw the bomb there, but it wasn't bad enough to where it was like, oh wait a minute, we got to start all over again.
Hmm.
But we need to get a hold of Freddie G again, see how he's
Yeah.
doing. I haven't heard from him. I haven't even seen no posts from him either. So
I have,
this,
and he's on TikTok now. So I've
oh,
been watching very closely. He's been doing a lot of cameos with Mario Superstar Salazar. And
that's another great comedian.
yeah.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen, mark my words, because Scarlet Rose knows when I tell you I'm gonna go get somebody, I'm gonna go get somebody. Like, remember how long it took me to get Rock and Roll James?
Yes.
Man, then we finally got Rock and Roll James. And it was just right after Christmas because of the toy drive and everything like that. It was in January. Then we got Mario Salazar later on.
Hmm.
But Ray Horta, I'm coming for you, Ray Horta. Get ready, buddy. I'm coming for you, Ray Horta. We've already talked, but hey, remember he's in Jerusalem right now, out
Hmm.
there. So wait till you come back, buddy. We're gonna get you. We're going to, and then possibly, you never know, we might get somebody from Intocable, Ricky Martinez. You
Ooh.
never know.
Ooh,
Trying to
that's a
work on
good
that one
one.
too.
Hmm.
And then we might even have to do another show with Mr. Rock and Roll James,
Yeah. I
because his
know he
birthday's
was
coming up.
mentioning about that. He was
Yeah.
mentioning about doing another interview like later on. So I'm excited about that one.
Heck yeah, either him with us or us with him, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a show. We're gonna do something. Something's gonna happen.
Hmm.
And I've got to tell you, I gotta do an interview with Bobby Macias, Mixed Masters Prodigy. You know what I mean? Got to get him on the
Yes.
show, because that's another radio star that we need to get on. And AC Cruz, we haven't forgotten about you,
I
buddy.
know. We gotta get
Yes,
AC Cruz.
yes, yes.
I've been, okay, wait, actually, let me talk about this AC Cruz really quick, because I just found out Bowden Ed is not okay. I had like the mentality that Bowden Ed was just Kingsville based. I did not know that they had other stores within, well, other restaurants within Corpus. So when what's it called? AC Cruz posted that meme about like the little like pipe. It was funny because if people don't know what Bodnet is, it's basically like the seafood place, but their intercom system is just a huge PVC pipe. And he posted a meme like a Halloween meme recently. I don't know if you guys seen it. It's basically like the Spirit Halloween costumes. Well, instead of that, he photoshopped like the little PCV pipe of like the Bo Ned. PCP pipe, and basically I was like, wait a second, Bodanet is in Kingsville. I don't think it's in Corpus. And he's like, oh, there's several in Corpus. And then I was like, dang, they have a whole franchise. And I didn't even know about it. I thought, like, okay, in my honest opinion, I thought, like, Bodanet was gonna go down because of the way it looks. It's all like I think they have their own look. I think they have a very specific look. I didn't think that I thought it was like a small town business. That's what I was thinking. I would have never thought it was its own franchise. So that is very intuitive marketing.
It's called faking you out, but when you get in, you're like, wow. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because you look at it through the outside, you're like, what is that? Then you go in, and it's like the food is amazing. You know what I mean? But yeah, I know which one you're talking about where he
Yeah.
did that. AC Cruz, man. AC Cruz has a lot of great curves, a lot of great stuff. So hopefully, pretty soon we get him on the show too. So, but yeah, so those are just some of the people that are working on to get on the show. So keep watching, keep listening, and we're just gonna keep moving forward like the way we always do. And then don't be surprised if every now and then, me and Scarlett Rose do a cameo and show up, at one of your events or one of your gigs or something, because we need to do that again, just like we did it with the rest of, TWO, just right out of the blues. Hey,
Yeah, we gotta do that again. Oh, sidetracked because I know that we were sidetracking for a bit. But we can't forget our latest co-host that is now doing off better things. Now he has his own podcast, so it's kind of freaking me out. Jack the Poet, do you remember him?
Jack the Poet, in case you didn't know it.
Yes. Yeah. The thing about
or
Jack
the
the Poet,
wannabe MC, I'm sorry. Jack the wannabe MC.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? He says that specific line in one of his old singles. So the fact that you said that kind of freaked me out. I was like, wait a second, you listen to him? Yeah, Jack the Poet, what's it called? He came in as a co-host after the Safe Sino Ray events, and he was the one he's actually the person that brought it up to me to bring back RGV Rocks because I thought RGV Rocks was gonna die because of the pandemic. So the fact that he told me to as an idea, like, hey, I think you should post this on YouTube. I think you should post on not only him, I'm not gonna give him the single credit for doing that, but also Frank Steps from what's it called? Well, he has his own music and stuff like that. But Frank Steps, you're also given that credit to also have that same credit as Jag to, bring back RGV Rocks. And those two, without those two, I would have never brought back RGV Rocks because that was a genius idea. That was like beyond genius what you guys did. So thank you so much for bringing RGV Rocks back because we lasted, I think, 2 more years after that. So thank you so much.
We're still going.
Yeah, we're still going. We're still going. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jag was like one of the, I think he was the only co-host to last the longest on RGV Rocks as like a guest co-host. That was very interesting too, because he would also like make it during the times that you wouldn't make it to any of the shows. So that was genius, and I think that was also before I had the what's it called, the confidence to do shows by myself because I wasn't really used to doing shows by myself.
Right.
And I felt like I needed like another co-host there. Now I'm more confident in myself.
Yeah, a lot of times when you don't see me with Scarlett Rose doing the show, it's because of work or a family issue like a funeral and stuff like that, But otherwise than that, I really, really, really hate missing a show. So whenever I can't make it to a show, it's not because I don't want to or I got other plans to go out and eat or something like that. No, it's because of work. Basically it's because of work. But yeah, I'm always here. I will always be here. We're just gonna make it a lot more funner for you guys to watch, listen, and don't forget about this contest. Don't forget $100 e-card giveaway to your choice. Amazon, Walmart, Target, Dunkin' Donuts, whatever it is you want. But it's $100. $100. $100 e-card or whatever. But it's $100, and it's gonna be to one lucky person that's gonna win. But it's got to be in order, the way you see those emojis coming out, Because if you don't do it in order, it doesn't count. And then we have more than one person to win. If we have 4 people, then maybe we might split it 25, 20. But no, it's going to be one person to get the 100 because it is a 100th episode, and we're
And
looking forward to
we're
that.
gonna be randomizing on like the wheel. So we're not gonna pick favorites. We're not gonna, pick the first person that gives us those emojis. No, we're going to randomize it just to make it all fair and game. So if you guys are still tuning in, thank you so much for being a part of RGV Rocks. What's it called? Going into, I would say, the pandemic. The pandemic was a very scary place at a very scary time. And like I said before, RGV Rocks literally wouldn't be without, Jake the Poet, also Frank Steps. Thank you so much for giving me like that confidence to get back RGV Rocks, because I think the station was also doing really bad itself. And I mentioned this on a YouTube video a while back. This was like separate from RGV Rocks, actually, now I think about it. Separate from RGV Rocks, I did a video based on VNBN, which is also a guest here on our show. I film with them a lot, if you guys don't know. I do a lot of behind the scenes footage on that. And basically within that video, I stated that not only was, Senile Ray underneath all that help that they really needed to pay rent and all that other stuff and bring light into a lot of local businesses that also needed to pay their rent and all these other things during the pandemic, but as well as the station. And essentially, it was very scary because the station almost, went bankrupt during
Almost
the
wasn't.
yeah. And it ended up not doing that because of that whole like funding thing that the government was doing after a while. But since we are a nonprofit organization, we do need donations all the time coming in, regardless of like who it is. I know like a lot of our guests before the pandemic, they would always we used to have a tip jar in the studio. I don't know if it's still there for the people that are getting interviewed on the other podcasts. There is a tip jar, so if you are interviewed for whatever means within that studio, please put $1 in. Any form of change matters to the studio, because it's been a while since we've had a scare like that within the studio. That the fact that, and the thing is, like, the studio did so much. We had the broadcasting classes, which we don't do anymore. I hope to bring that back once more, because I mean, look at me. I'm literally a creation from one of those classes. So thank God I took one of those classes, because I wouldn't literally be here today. RGB Rocks wouldn't have been a thing. So that was number one. Number two is we have all these beautiful podcasts. I keep forgetting the other podcasts that are at the station because I haven't been there in such a long time. But for the other podcasts on the station, that's also, giving light to that. And then we also have like the events that the city, well, not the city, like the McAllen, City McAllen, but the city, the station does. What's it called? We used to do a lot of remote, I would say, events such as like the city of Edinburgh, the city of McAllen. We would always do that kind of stuff. We also did the McAllen Art Walk for a while. So that was another couple events that we also did within the station. So not only are you, contributing just to the station itself, you're contributing to all these other things that come out of that station.
It's a
So
community.
yeah, the
That's what it is.
community.
It's a community,
Mm-hmm.
and we are a community that is based on you, the people,
Mm-hmm.
because it takes your donations to keep us thriving, and we you're our boss basically. We don't want to lose what we got, because it's a great talent that we have, you know what I mean? And radio is free. This podcast is free, and we appreciate you helping whatever you can with donations, because like Rock and Roll James had said on his show PBT, you all don't get paid for doing this. No, we don't get paid for doing this. RGV Rocks is made out of the heart. We're doing it to show you, the valley, our great talent that we have in the valley, our
Mm-hmm.
very own, if you will, and that's why every time somebody donates and gives to the station, and I say to the station because all your donations is spread out for all the radio shows that we have in that building, And we
Mhm.
thank you. We thank you for making all the podcasts, special and available to you to see and watch and enjoy.
Exactly, and that's what I love about RGV Rocks. Now, going back to like the whole pandemic situation, it was a very special and scary time for us because, like I said, the station was going down, CNA was going down, and I wanted to do something for the community because my dad's place was going down, so I had no other choice. I was like, well, if these guys are going to do a very special live stream, might as well take advantage of that. Well, not take advantage of that, but like what's it called? I would say co-host along with them to
Get
do a
on the
very
bandwagon.
jump on the bandwagon, yeah,
There
to
you go.
interview these artists that were doing that as well because you had KRGV covering it. You also had KVEO covering it. And you would see these people get interviewed, right? It was just like the creators of that. It was Jag, it was my friend Fino, and then their crew. And I wanted to, showcase that not only can they be interviewed, but as well as the artists that were also contributing to it. I thought that was also a very um huge thing that we needed to do to cover, local artistry. We had to cover whatever talent that they had. And since, Sino Ray had been our only sponsor for such a long time, I thought about giving back to Cena just to do that coverage. So not only did I risk my life doing that technically, I also felt like I needed to get back to the community in some sort of way. So I'm really glad I was able to do that coverage. I know when I was talking to Rudy about it, he thought I was a madman because he was like, "This is the peak of the pandemic. You can't be doing this." But I ended up doing that because I do love Valley talent. I do love the people from the Valley. I feel that we're more than just like a family. We're a huge community. We get to do all these amazing things. We get to showcase all these amazing people. We need to do something, and I felt like it was right. It was right within the moment. And for the people that want to hear about those interviews, or like they're on Facebook, that's number one. I did a live screening about that. I also did a pre-recorded interview on YouTube, so you go check that out. And I think that's what started our RGB Rocks YouTube, because we were just primarily on Facebook. We
That's
were
it.
primarily on Facebook because of Rudy. He would do the live streams, and then let's just say if Rudy's phone wasn't working, I had to do mine on like the side. So sometimes whenever you see the Facebook lives, they're all weird. They're all weird, but
Well, it's just because we're weird anyway. So
yeah.
so, so
But yeah.
but it's good times. That's what it
Mhm.
is. It's all good times. And it's the learning experience, the growth. The education that we got. And we get better. We got better, and we're getting better. And it's just getting better.
Yeah.
And if you guys keep supporting us the way you're doing, listening to our shows. Get subscribers, new subscribers. Subscribe. It's free. Just hit the button, like.
Mhm.
And we appreciate everything, every little thing y'all do for us. We appreciate it. And all
Mhm.
you Valley talents, don't be afraid, don't be scared. Come on out and make an interview with us. Fill in the app. And like I said, we don't get to you right away. We will get to you.
We'll get to you eventually. Don't worry
Yes.
about that. Yeah. And I know that there's been like a couple of complaints here and there. It's not been very many, but they're like, "Oh, why can't we go through the studio? Why can't we do this? Why can't we do that?" It's like, you see me and Rudy, we're kind of like 4 hours away. So I can't
Not
really
kind of. We
necessarily do
are.
that.
We are. We
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, unfortunately, when they closed the studio down because of the pandemic, you know, DJ Scarlet Rose had just finished graduating. She was going to go to college. Went to over here at Texas A&M in Kingsville.
Mhm.
Now you're in San Marcos, correct?
Yes, I'm in San Marcos.
Yeah, you see, and I moved over here to San Antonio myself too, and I've been over here working over here doing my thing over here. So, but we still got the show going. Thank you to the
Mhm.
podcast. Thank you to this great show that we're doing right now. It. You can never get the RGV out of us, but we can leave the RGV. And let me tell you what, I'm always going back every other weekend just to go see my daughters and my grandson. And I got family over there that I love, of course, and go see them and everything. And all my friends and everybody there. You're back home, of course, McAllen, and stuff. I am an RGV born and bred, and that's never gonna get out of me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over here and I'm asking the people, "Where's the botanas?" They're all like, "What's the botana?" Oh my god, I gotta go back to the valley.
I know. It's a huge what's it called? I would say a culture shock. And it's weird because we're within Texas, but there is still culture shock, especially if you like move up north to, up north Texas. It's
I
very
feel I
different
feel
from the
like a
valley.
like a winter Texan.
Yeah. It's very unusual and weird. That's all I can say about it because,
Yeah,
I've been here I living up north for 2 years already and I still can't get used to it. It's a huge well, I mean, even then, two different locations within up north. You got
yeah,
primarily a ghost town versus somewhat of like a huge city. So that's like two things to compare it to. It's like two different locations, two different what's it called? Two different environments. And you got to compare that to and it's crazy. It really is crazy. To end the show really quick, Rudy, do you want to talk about your favorite moment within RGV Rocks history?
my favorite moment is all of it. All of it's been my favorite moment. There has never been a dull moment. All our interviewers that we've had, all our guests, all our talented people that showed up to our shows, um, all of them were truly amazing, great to have. From the comedians to the artists to the bands to the painters. Uh, I loved every moment of it. The longest interview that we've ever had is Rock and Roll James.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll James. He is an awesome person. Love the guy. He's been my friend for decades. For more than 2 decades actually, and truly, truly a great talent. Uh, we known each other forever, like I said, and he is just full of knowledge, full of a lot of great stories. And he can talk your head off, and he will. And
Mhm.
there will never be another Rock and Roll James, and he is still doing his thing. Him and Whiskey D are now back on the road again, doing the bands and stuff. Um, the funniest person ever to come on our show, I guess it's got to be what's his name, Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid. He's the one talking about my Patriots, but he was one of the funniest people that we had on our show. Made us laugh. I literally had to go to the restroom.
Mhm.
Uh, I remember he was flirting with your mom. She was there.
Oh my god.
Otherwise than that, everybody that came to our show, it's been amazingly great, and I am just so thankful and I'm humbled that we're able to get those people. Uh, Upcoming people that we're going to get on our show, I just can't wait. Great lineup. The big surprise for me was getting DJ Agro because he's always so busy,
Yeah.
especially doing the Wild 104 stuff and everything. And then he's also, resident DJ and doing all that stuff. Then he's always fishing. Remember that?
Yeah, he's always fishing.
He's always fishing. He's a canalero. 956 canalero. And he's out there in the canales and stuff.
Mhm.
And I was just amazed that we got him. I was amazed that he was able to do the show. Otherwise than that, future blessings and good lucks to DJ Lucky J.
Mhm.
Going to college plus also still doing his DJing and stuff like that. And God is with you, my brother. And keep up the good work, keep the faith. Another great talent upcoming and growing, Miss Scarlett Rose.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're getting better and better yourself too. You've got a great blessing, a great talent. Take it into heart, use it well, do
Mhm.
well things, do good things, but you are, we are, we're doing this show, and like you said, it's gonna have to come to an end pretty soon. And I know that it's not gonna be right now either, but the day it
Mhm.
does come to an end, I'm gonna buy a bunch of shirts and just give them away for free.
Keep one for memorabilia. So,
I will, of course, most
yeah.
definitely, but we got to get them done first.
That's true. That's true. What's it called? I would say for my I would say for my list of favorite memories would be the number one was Jesse Turner. He said a lot of things that kind of like, you know, took that I took to heart that you kind of just have to do things. You can't
Yeah,
just be holding back. You can't what's called doubt yourself. You have to kind of keep on going and just, believe in your passion. If you're bad at it for whatever reason, keep going, you know? You'll make yourself into like the person that you want to be so long as you keep on going. So that was like one of the things that kind of stuck with me within, Jesse Turner's interview. Then the other one was Lamar Jones. Oh my gosh. The creator of the Jank, he also does his own music. He knows Logic, which kind of freaks me out sometimes. But he was also a very, very down to earth person. And if you want to check out the interview, I think it's on YouTube as well. So that was also one of my favorites as well. And then I think the most recent one that we did with the Chew and Ew, I have never like, I don't know if you've seen the recent interview, Rudy, with the what's it called? With
Chew and you?
Yeah, with Mark Velasquez.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I've ever like, merged with somebody like what's it called? Like their what's the word I'm looking for?
Their vibe?
Their vibe, there we go. I don't think I've ever like had a vibe, like a connection with somebody within like a solo interview before. Cause this dude was just like going off of what I said, and I was like, dang, this dude is something else. He has a completely different vibe. Also, the fact that he sounds like, somebody from the radio. I don't know, because I know that he's been within the entertainment business for a while, but he sounds like, he can get a job at like the Q or anywhere, and he would, be a really great like radio DJ. Like that kind of freaks me out. I was like, dang. Yeah, so I would say those have been my favorites so far. But to the people that are barely tuning in, I'm sorry that you catch us so late within the game, but we are out of time for our 100th interview, or not interview, 100th episode special. I'm sorry about that. I'm used to saying like interview because of like every single, person that we've already interviewed. I'm kind of glad that it kind of came around to what's it called? Within the circle, we started like this, just you and I, within that interview, and then look at us now, 100 episodes later. We're back at
you
it.
And I.
Yeah. So thank you, Rudy. Thank you for being my number 2 to this radio show. It's been an amazing 4 years already. 4 years officially, because I didn't even know this. I looked back at the post of when I started RGV Rocks, September 6th, 2018. It's already been officially 4 years. I've been saying it was like 3 years already, but no, it's officially 4 years now. So 4 years in the making, RGV Rocks.
And it's been an amazing 4 years. Let me tell you. It's got a lot to do that at first we started off doing the show once a month. In case some of you people are trying to figure out 4 years.
Oh, it wasn't once a month. It was twice a month.
Well, yeah, and then it went to twice a month, and then there was sometimes where we couldn't do the show because of either missing talents or Scarlet Rose schools, or me, work and stuff like that. So cancellations or redos and stuff like that. But yes, 100th episode already, and it's just been a blessing, and I can't wait for another 100 more to go.
Yeah. Especially what's it called? Do you have any shout outs, Rudy, before we leave?
Big old shout out to all you beautiful people watching and listening. Big old shout out to all the great talents that we've had on our show and that we're going to have on our show. Big old shout out to everybody here at 54th Street Restaurant in San Antonio, because I'm outside the parking lot. And a big old shout out to my beautiful and awesome co-host right here, Miss Scarlet Rose. Thank you for being here with me. And thank you for having me as well. And I can't forget my 2 beautiful daughters, Drenna and Darlin. Darlin's going to graduate from chiropractic school, Parker University in Dallas, December the 3rd, 2022. I am all excited. Can't wait this December. And a big old shout out to my ever-loving, my beautiful grandson, the so handsome young man. Tomorrow's picture day, so you better look sharp, baby boy. Carson Dean. And a big old shout out once again to all you beautiful people out there listening.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna list off the amount of people that I'm gonna shout out to. So first of all, I would like to give a big old shout out to Rock and Rudy. Thank you for making every single episode, if not like most of every single episode, an amazing time. Then we got an order Warp Drive. Thank you so much. What's it called? Events with Heart Productions, Angel de Rey, also the Otis Project. We also got Indigo the Rebel. Thank you so much. We also got TKO. Thank you for that
Oh,
amazing interview as well. And as well as Ocean Breeze Avenue. There we go. I almost like forgot about like the what's it called? The
the way
middle
we
of the
say it.
yeah. So Ocean Breeze Avenue, Alex Cooley Ansel, DJ Lucky J, Chemical 956, Rock and Roll James, Robert Ceballos, also my dad, Borgera. So thank you so much. We also got I'm trying to think about who else we had. We had T Tech at one point. Do you remember T Tech?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. The
Yeah.
girls from T-Tech. Yes, yes.
Then we got 10-foot overhead, Magdale Castle from the city of Edinburgh, Foxy Roxy from 107.9 Mix FM. We also got Rudy Barba, Caster Scott, he's also an event coordinator. We also had Invitable, there we go.
Inevitable.
Yeah, along with what's it called, the people from Edinburgh City Music Festival. Shout out to VNBN, Arnold Garza, as well as Dr. J. Thank you so much for being a part of this station for so many years. We also have, I'm trying to think of Lucky Joe. Thank
Lucky
you
Joe.
so much. And then we also had Mariano and La Preferencia. If I
La
remember.
preferencia.
Yes.
Mariano Boca Negra. Yes, con la preferencia.
Yes.
La preferencia. Beautiful, awesome, awesome music he's got. Real good talent. Real good talent.
Shout out to Rose and Zach. We had that one interview. They used to be part of the station as well. Shout out to them. We had the RGV Banditas. That was one of them. We also had DJ Johnny Electric. Von Schweetz, thank you for that takeover the one time. So thank you so much. We also had Freddie G. And then on top of that, we also had the Bouncing Brains podcast on our station. We also had Jackal's Corner. I forgot about that podcast for a long time. So shout out to them. We also had Bloodlines, and now they are doing an amazing job. I seen you guys on Instagram all the time. You guys are well on your way to becoming, really, really big. So I'm so glad we got you guys when you guys were starting out.
Don't forget us.
Yes, we also had Gloria Reyes from the Season of Hope. So thank you so much, Vinny D, Norma Hez, Sean Elliott Russell. We also had Hector Tamez, who used to be a part of the station, now is at Barquero Radio at UTRGV. What's it called? We had a lot of people within the Safe Scene LRA. We had well, I think now I can't remember her new name now, but it used to be Realistic, TV Flash, Gesture, K Universe. I know that Jack the Poet. Thank you so much for being what's it called, a co-host on RGV Rocks. We had Takumo SK. We also had Indigo, not Indigo the Rebel, but like the dance group. What's it called? McAllen Irish Arts. You remember that interview? And then
that's the Irish girl. Yes, I remember.
Yes. Then we had Lamar Jones. Thank you so much. Jetwad. I don't think I've ever said. I think we didn't say that. So Jetwad. Then we had DJ Sage, Jesse Turner. What's it called? Jared Fuentes. I'm so glad we got you as interviewee. Congratulations on Radmed Adventure or Radmed Adventure. There we go. On your book. So thank you so much for joining us here. We had Nonsensical Nomads. Congratulations on your podcast. We had Optical Wolf Gaming. I haven't seen you in a while, so shout out to you. Valley Swerve. Oh my gosh, that was also one of my favorites. Shout out to Valley Swerve. We also have Humex Pagmas. Shout out to Humex Pagmas. Then we had what's it called? Elamzula and then Planet Grim. Those guys are amazing, so go check that out. We also had Italia 182. I love your music. I also have a sticker from your shop, so I love your music. I'm a huge fan, so thank you so much for joining us here on our show. Garden Seeds, same here. I enjoy your music so much. You guys are amazing. Ray Abrigo, do you remember that?
Ray Abrigo,
Yeah.
the production manager.
Heck
He is
yeah.
such a great guy. He is such a great guy. Truly humble. He is
Then we
one of
got
the greatest down to earth people ever.
Charlie Corona. That was one of them. Then we got Purple Villain. Purple Villain. Shout
Oh
out to
yeah,
Purple Villain. We got Jay Lugo. You
Jay
remember that?
Lugo,
Yeah. Then we got Tony Forina. There we go. Tony
Tony
Forina.
Podina, Tony
Mhm.
Podina.
Then we got Camerafino. Camerafino.
Yeah,
Actually, I seen his newest stuff that he's posting. He's doing a great job. What's it called? I'll probably talk to you later, Fino. So shout out to you. We also had El Spooky Bookie. Do you remember that?
the
That interview?
Mexican, the Mexican, what's his name? El Buki. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we got Adrian Gutierrez. We have the culture, John Paris. Do you remember that? John Paris?
Yes, of course, the Bubblegum King.
Then we had Jax Phoenix. You guys, you rock on guitar, by the way. Amazing guitarist. We had Frankie G, not to be confused with the other
With Freddie G.
Yeah, with Freddie G. Then we had Arachnid, Theta Jane, Loverboy and Castro. We had Mario Superstar Salazar, Disease Freak, Vice. We had Jindo, also known as Chris Choi from VNBN. Shout out to you. I probably have to hit you up really quick because I need to talk to you about music later. Mitzi Venus, the model, and also what's it called? We had Johnny O, Mando Santroman, Kaiser and the Damaged Goods. What was this? I'm trying to remember what I can't pronounce the name anymore. I can't pronounce the name. It was I'll have another podcast. Thank you so much. Then we had Levanter Dance Team. A few other ones. A few other ones, DJ Agro, Frankie G, and as well as the Chew and Ew podcast. Thank you so much for making our 100th episode very, very special. I want to give a very special shout out to all of our listeners that have made it this far for 4 years, 100 episodes. Thank you so much. What's it called? We'll be announcing the winner later on on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Oh, for the people that don't know about or want to check us out, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Facebook and Instagram is just RGV Rocks. Twitter is Rocks RGV. Once again, Facebook, Instagram, RGV Rocks, and Twitter is Rocks RGV. We also have a Patreon if you guys want to subscribe. You are more than welcome to donate to the station. What we usually do is, like I did for, all these guests tonight, we have a very special and specialized shout out that we usually give out at the end of our show. So if you want a happy birthday from us, it's only $5, and not only are you subscribed, not only do you get a very special shout out for $5, but you also get to see what's behind the scenes for RGV Rocks. I usually post there mostly all the time, so you get to see our schedule before we post it the day we usually post it. So you get to see our very special guests that are coming up for that couple of months, if not for that month. And $5 just goes not only straight to us, but as well as the station. So not only are you contributing to our show, but you're as well as contributing to the other stations the other podcasts within the stations. So thank you so much for being a part of our 100th episode. I want to give a very I want to remind everybody, thank you for listening to our humble little show. We'll be here next time on KCYP 97.7 FMLP, The City, for 100 more. See ya.
Yes. Bye-bye.